What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a bonus episode of Nailed It Motherhood podcast. I'm your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge, and today this one is just me. This is our season 2 finale, and before we move forward, I wanted to take a moment to pause, reflect, and honor what the season has meant, not just for this podcast, but for us as a village, mothers, women, and papas who are listening, and just really humans, just doing the best that we can, because truly that's all we can do. Season 2 wasn't just about having things figured out, it was about being willing to admit when we don't. And that right there, I think, is the key. If I'm being honest, season 2 reminded me that a lot of motherhood is really just showing up without clarity and staying anyway. A lot of what came up for me during season 2 was about change. Changes in our kids, changes in ourself, the realization that what worked before doesn't always work now. And if you're anything like me, those moments can make you question everything. Am I doing enough? Am I missing something? Why does this feel harder than I expected? Why does this feel harder than the last time we went through this? One thing that kept coming up over and over again was this idea of parenting well. And let's be very careful not to go down the social media rabbit hole because good parenting is all over social media. But I digress. But I will be honest. I think a lot of us are tired of that phrase. Raise your hand if it's you, because it sure is me. Somewhere along the way, parenting well started to sound like being calm all the time, making the right choices every single time, never messing up. But this season for Nailed It Motherhood podcast, it pushed back on that. And I'm very glad it did. It reminded me that parenting well sometimes looks like apologizing, slowing down, choosing rest, even when things aren't finished, realizing that you need support as a parent. And none of that is flashy. None of that looks good. And it surely doesn't photograph well on social media. But the reality is, that's real talk. Something else this season held space for was identity. Not in a big dramatic way, more in the wait, who am I now way. And I can call out Dr. Pamela for that because she really pinpointed that question, who am I now that I'm a mom? And I think it's fair to say that sometimes our identity changes even as our children age. So even if you only have one, like me, from the time that my daughter was born to now that she's 6 and her identity has changed, my identity has changed. Because really, motherhood and the relationship between the mother and the child, it changes you. And not all of those changes are easy to name. Some of them show up as exhaustion, and some of them show up as resentment that you don't feel proud of. But if that's you, and you've been trying to heal or unlearn and just understand yourself better while you're raising your kids, whether they be young kids or even adult kids, or let's be honest, even adult kids that are now having kids, I want to be very clear that that work matters, even when no one is clapping for you and it feels unfinished. Another thing that I'm taking with me from this season is how much we need each other as a village. Not just advice, but we just need our presence. We need to be in communion with each other. So many of these conversations that I've had reminded me that isolation makes things heavier and just harder to carry. And sometimes the bravest thing that you can do is just say, I'm not okay. Can you sit with me for a minute? I hope that this season reminds you that you don't have to do it alone. And I think this will be a perfect time to plug the This Mama is Nailing It Parenting Self-Care Journal, because this journal itself allows you to take time for yourself within the time that works for you. It does not have to be consistently, but in the time that works for you, take time for yourself and date yourself and make it time that you enjoy sitting down and thinking about why you love yourself and what it is that you need help with and what it is that worked when you were happy and what are the things that are stressing you out. That journal, I believe, is a book that was by us from Nailed It Motherhood podcast. It was constructed from guests that were on this show, quotes that our guests have said, and I just had time to really go over those quotes and reflect. But then it gives us space to just write out our thoughts. What are these women saying that is resonating with me? So find your person when you feel like you're alone, and find that person who will just let you sit quietly and rest in them and be safe in their space. For me personally, this season 2 has slowed me down in a thoughtful way. Now, my life has not personally slowed down, but my thoughts have slowed down. It made me listen to the guests differently. It made me listen to other moms, and it made me listen to myself as I'm interviewing these women and these men, even. It reminded me that you can be tired and you can still be doing meaningful work. You can feel unsure, but you can still be a good mother. And you can be learning in real time and still show up. And you don't have to be a superhero to do all of these things and still be doing amazing work that matters and that counts. So, as we close the season, I don't want to give you a takeaway or a challenge. I want to thank you all for being with me during both seasons 1 and 2, for joining me on my first live that we held back in November. It was an amazing time. Keep an eye out for all of the exciting things that are coming down the pipeline. But I do want to leave you with just one question. You don't have to write it down, but I just want you to sit with it. So the question for you is, what shifted for you this season? Even if only in a small way, because that small thing is enough. Again, thank you all so much for being here, for listening, for letting all of these conversations meet you where you are. Season 3 is set to release in January. I have already been recording some amazing guests. My calendar is already ready to release flyers and release titles and release just snippets and sneak peeks of the guests that I've already interviewed. And I'm still taking more interviews for the end of the year. I do like to do them in batch recording so that we try to get them all done, and then I push them out whenever the time is coming for them to be released. So season 3 is set. So please follow, hit notifications on whether you follow on Instagram, whether you follow on Facebook or YouTube, so that you always get the latest episodes and the sneak peeks of our amazing guest list. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be on there too. Until then, take care of yourself and Happy New Year. I'm Tamara, and this mama is nailing it. Smooches.